What's up guys, it's Ryan and Eric from Tower Reviews here, and today we're going to be reviewing the iPod Touch 5th generation, as you can see right in front of you. We're going to start out the video by going around on the hardware and showing you all of the new features, discussing the internal hardware, and showing you a little bit of software and seeing how it performs with the new hardware on the device. On the front you can see that we have the white version, 4 out of the 5 colors come in white, and then the black one's the only one with the black front. You've got blue, red, yellow, which I have, white and black and slate, and you also have the product red version. We've got the 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, as you can see there. We do not have a proximity sensor or a ambient light sensor, oddly enough, as I don't know, I guess it's because the iPod's too thin, I'm not really sure, but if you go into the settings there is no auto brightness. Pretty much it for the front, other than the iconic home button, which is on every Apple device right there. Works perfectly. To the left side we have volume rocker, which has changed a little bit from the 4th gen. The buttons are definitely a little bit more responsive, have a little bit better tactile feedback, but other than that they're still both 2 individual buttons. They work pretty well.
Just something I want to say about the buttons is it's a nice upgrade that the sides are more squared off, just because it gives you a better surface area to push, and it's not like pressing it on an angle, so you have the possibility of slipping off these buttons. That's the same with the home button as well. So with the new design it's a little bit easier to click those buttons.
So if we go to the right side, you'll see that you have nothing. On the back you have a 5 megapixel sensor and a LED flash, and to the right you have a Wi-Fi antenna. Below that you have the standard Apple logo with iPod, and gone is the gigabyte markings. They don't now mark on the outside what gigabyte you have. And
the biggest upgrade, no more scratch prone chrome backing. Okay, I had to say that slowly because it's a big deal. Everybody who has owned an iPod Touch knows that it immediately looks like crap as soon as you take it out of the box. No matter how you treat it, you handle it with care, you put it in an OtterBox, you put it in the nicest case, you're still going to get that smudge, that scratch, that ugly look. So we have the aluminum that is on the unibody MacBook Pros. It's a beautiful material to be used.
Very durable.
Electronics. It's durable, it's scratch resistant, it feels good in the hand, gives a good grip, and it just looks really stellar on the back of the new iPod. What we got on the bottom left, if you're wondering, it looks like a small aluminum button. It's called the Apple Loop. Basically what that does is it's a receiver for a small lanyard. You can pop it in and out with a spring mechanism. It makes it flush when you spring it in, so it's almost like it's not there, but when you press it and it comes out, you have a lanyard that comes standard with your iPod in the matching color. It gives you a nice way to hang on to your iPod if you have a small child, someone who does not have the capability of completely holding onto the iPod themselves. Maybe you're afraid you're taking a video over water. It's just a great way to ensure the safety of your iPod, and I think a great little feature.
We upgraded from the A4 on the iPod Touch 4th generation to the A5 on the iPod Touch 5th generation, which was in the iPhone 4S and ran it very well. It was a great processor, which is kind of obsolete now as they have the A6 and the A6X, but it's still a good processor, dual core, 1 gigahertz. We have 512 megabytes of RAM, which is doubled the 4th gen. We also have the 32 gigabyte model here, as that is the lowest amount that the iPod Touch 4th or 5th gen comes in. That starts at $299 and it goes up to 64 gigabytes, which is for $399. On the bottom we have the lightning connector, which we can demonstrate here.
So what the lightning connector gives you is basically a more durable port. It's smaller, it allows for a thinner design, and it is reversible. So gone are the days of putting your thing in upside down, your 30-pin connector in upside down. And also what it gives you with the squared off design, just like I said with the buttons, it gives you a better surface to put the lightning connector in. So basically with the 4th gen, with the rounded side, it's a little easier to slip off and maybe even scratch the back of your iPod. So it gives you a much easier way to hook it up.
We also have a seemingly upgraded speaker. Obviously Apple doesn't really mention anything about their speaker technology, but it definitely does sound significantly louder than the 4th gen, as you can see just by the size of it. It's a 5-hole speaker grill, whereas on the iPod Touch 4th generation you sort of just have a mesh rectangular hole. So that's about it for the hardware. Let's just go look at the software of it now. So one more gripe I have with the hardware that I forgot to mention is that the 5 megapixel camera on the back. As you can see right there, it's sort of raised up a little bit. So if you're going to be putting it down, that's going to be the thing that's going to hit the desk first or whatever you're setting it down on. And if you happen to be putting it down on, let's say, concrete, there's a good chance it's going to scratch your lens. Maybe if it was recessed or just flush to the iPod, you wouldn't have that issue, but as you can see there, it's raised up significantly, so that's a problem. Also, this isn't really a problem, but just something I noticed. I think it's with the better cameras that have multiple lenses inside. When you set them down on a desk, you hear a slight rattle. It's something that has been present in the iPhone for probably since the iPhone 4. I'm not certain of that because I just got the iPhone 5, so I don't know. But it just kind of makes it sound cheap. And also, I have yet to look into buying a case for this, but I'm guessing that this is going to cause many problems because I don't see how you can make a case that would handle this. Like, I just don't see how.
You're gonna have to allow for ample room around the little mechanism because you're gonna need to connect the lanyard to it. So it's gonna kind of leave that bottom left corner of the iPod exposed for dropping and scratches. So
and overall, it's just gonna be harder to get a good case. It's just gonna create problems that cheap case manufacturers aren't gonna feel like dealing with. So you're probably gonna have to buy a higher premium case to get that included. Alright, so if we look at the software of the iPod Touch 5th generation, it's pretty much the same as the software of the iPhone 5, as you can see here. In fact, the iPod Touch is pretty much the exact same thing as the iPhone 5 without the phone feature. It's slightly thinner. It weighs about the same, I would say, just by a feel. The iPod Touch is definitely lighter. The screen quality is about the same, something that we haven't seen with iPod Touch and their iPhone counterparts. They took away any noticeable difference between the two screens. Here in the operating system, which is iOS 6, that's what the iPod Touch 5th generation ships with. You have basically more of the same, a few updated features such as the new Apple Maps. So far I've had no issues with this on my iPhone 5 at least. It's pretty fast and snappy and the turn-by-turn navigation worked pretty well. The thing that I'm finding most people don't realize is that it's Apple's first try at this, where Google has had, I don't know, 6 years of developing their Maps app. So give it some time, and I think it will definitely catch up to what we're used to. Everything works pretty well. It's what you're used to. It's gotten kind of stale over the years. Not much customizability. You're limited to basically changing your wallpaper and putting apps in folders. That's really the only thing you can do to customize. We got some additions in the camera app. Obviously, with a better camera comes with some better features. We've got the panorama mode. We don't have the ability to record video or record photos while we're recording video, oddly enough, which exists in the iPhone 5. So as you can see there, panorama mode. We got HDR photos. And another big addition to the operating system is Siri. It's, I believe, the third device to get it. We had it on the iPhone, the iPad, and now the iPod Touch. Unfortunately, the servers are pretty slow right now and we can't get it to work, or we would do a demo. I do have a dedicated video to a demo of Siri on the iPod Touch, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave an annotation. So overall, it runs the operating system very smoothly, no issues whatsoever there. Here, I'll just give you a little demo of a game. Alright, so here we're just going to play a quick game of Subway Surfer and show you how it performs. I had this game on my iPod Touch 4th generation and it lagged significantly, so this should show you how smooth it is. It's a pretty graphics intensive game, it's 3D and everything. So there you can see it signed me in the game center. So that about sums up the review of the iPod Touch 5th generation. If you'd like to see anything else, just comment below and I'll try to make a video for you as fast as possible. But I think it's one of the best updates to the iPod Touch lineup ever. I think the 4th generation was probably the best, but this is definitely the second best, as it definitely closes the gap between the iPod Touches and the iPhones. If you have a 4th generation, I probably would hold off on upgrading for now. If you have any others, definitely go for it. That is, if you need an iPod Touch, you might want to wait for the iPad. Thanks for watching.